get everything done? Welcome to All the Things with Julie Miller-Davis, where we interview the experts who love to do everything you shouldn't be doing so you can stop juggling all the things and start doing the right things. Here's your host, CEO and founder of JMD Productivity Training and the host of All the Things, Julie Miller-Davis.
Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to mid-November and November's issue of All the Things. So excited today to have Ann Bennett join us, and we'll get to her in just a moment. But first, I wanted to welcome you all here. And if this is your first time tuning in at JMD Productivity Training, which I am the CEO and owner of, what we do is focus on helping people implement the things that they need to be implementing rather than trying to do everything, all the things that they shouldn't be doing. And so I bring in experts to talk to you about things that they can help you do to build your business, to do business better, or to get things off your plate. So I wanted to start today actually with a productivity tip, if you all don't mind. And I wanted to talk about the power of tenacity, really. So I would like you to think about why you aren't starting things or why you aren't finishing things. And what does it have to do with? Are they too big, these ideas that you have, and so you're not starting them or you're not finishing them? Are you feeling like there's too many roadblocks that you might come up against? Or possibly, what if it doesn't work? And that what if it doesn't work is really the thing that I want to concentrate on today, because I'd like to know I want to reframe this whole idea of what if it doesn't work, and even what's the worst thing that can happen, because I want you to really think about what you could learn from whatever it is that you are thinking about trying or thinking about launching or thinking about implementing or whatever it is. So if you could wrap your head around what you could learn from it, and whether or not it flies doesn't really matter then. What matters is that you gave it a try, you're pushing through the hard, and you are figuring out what you can do differently, what you can do better, and what you need to tweak. If you don't ever try it, if you don't ever launch, if you don't ever implement, and you don't finish it, or you don't start it, then how do you even know what you need to do differently in your business, or what's going to work, or what people want, or how awesome something is? Like, you have no idea. So I encourage you today to think about, how can you be a little more tenacious? How can you push through? How can you get going so that you feel like you are trying everything that you can try, not throwing spaghetti at the wall, but with a sense of intention behind it and a meaningful outcome that you want, and go into it with curiosity around what you might learn from it if you give it a shot. So just wanted to put that out there today, because I think it's really important that we not give up and that we not try, because that can change everything if you try it. So that's our productivity tip this month. And now it's time to bring in a very, very good friend of mine, Ann Bennett. And let me tell you a little bit about her. I'm gonna read what she sent me here. Ann Bennett always felt like she didn't fit in, incessantly picked on as the oddball. There was always a slight twist to her point of view, an edge to her emotions, because of that, she spent many solitary hours painting, writing, and playing music. She's very talented, by the way. As an artist, it felt right to be rebellious and to break the rules. As a revolutionary brand specialist, Ann helps you show up exactly as you and who you are, and build a platform around that will skyrocket your profits. Your audience will know in an instant your talks, your products, your programs, your events, and your workshops are not like anyone else's. So true. Just one bold element can leave you struggling and broke, but when you know what makes you uniquely you, you then can message it in a way that instantly connects you with the people you need, or the people that need you. When you can infuse that into everything you offer, you can't help but elevate your success. This is Ann Bennett, and she can help us do just that. Please welcome to the studio, Ann Bennett. Yay!
Thank you, Julie. Thank you. I was like, wow, that's a cool introduction. Who wrote that?
I think you did. I don't know. It's on my piece of paper.
I don't remember when. As entrepreneurs, we're always like on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. So I think it's fascinating.
Well, and I love how you really help people dig into what's uniquely them so that they can stand in that, right? And so would you mind painting us a little picture further of your journey so that we can and weave in the essence of your business to like what drove you to start this business?
Oh, okay, that's great. I am a reluctant entrepreneur. I was working in New York City. I worked as kind of a consultant, freelancer, art director, designer in the magazine field in New York City for 25 years. So I was kind of straddling this. I'm an independent contractor. I'm an entrepreneur, and I would go to the corporations, right? So I was working at Vogue magazine, and being there was a growth and development program for sure, as being an entrepreneur is as well. It's probably the biggest, all of the things that you are and all of the things that you are not come to the front when you're building a business. I was just at an event over the last 3 days, and I was talking to other entrepreneurs, some of them making, trying to get to 6 figures, some of them making $1 billion. We were all in the same room together. And it's so interesting when you're talking to people, because at every level, they're still dealing with the same things that you deal with when you start your business. They're just on a bigger perspective, right? And so for me, when I left New York, the reason I say I'm a reluctant entrepreneur is because I never related to that as, oh, I'm this independent person. And even as an artist in New York, you're definitely an entrepreneur if you're an artist. And when I left New York, I came back to California, which is where I'm originally from. And I was like, what am I going to do now? I just kind of switched worlds almost. So I decided to take my talent, skills, and abilities and help other people. I just got to that point where I was downtown in New York City for 9/11. I lost a lot of friends in the World Trade Centers. And it was like this turning point of like, well, what do I really want to do? Instead of what is it about that's what's driving me to do what I do. So I've always been somebody who I'm kind of a cheerleader for other people. So I took my talent, skills, and abilities in design and really understanding how to make people stand out and how to do articles and write hooks and do all these things, and want to help people that really have a big heart that want to really do something in the world, change their world or change the world at large. And that's what really drove me to start the business.
I love it. And I think that, a lot of people start off wanting to maybe independently contract or do things. They just want to do what they love to do. And they become that reluctant or accidental business owner, if you will, or whatever. And all of a sudden you're in it, which is a lot of why I have a business, because it's like, oh gosh, now what?
Yeah, exactly.
You fall out of and now I've got to worry about this and 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 in what order should I even handle all of that stuff? And I have all these other ideas of things that I can do. How do I and when do I? And what do I, do with it? So true, Anne. So true.
Exactly. And I was really ignorance on fire for sure.
which, which for a while works until
For
it
a
doesn't.
while, it works really, really well. I've done really, really well up
Yeah.
until
Until it doesn't.
the next stage. Right. I like to say
So
about
true.
my personality being a rebel. It's great. It works really, really well unless it doesn't.
Until it doesn't.
Until it doesn't work.
Yeah, until all of it catches up with you and your enthusiasm is no longer enough, right?
Right. Or your passion. Passion is really great. Enthusiasm goes up and down depending on how much sleep you got, right?
That's true. That's true. That's true. So that kind of leads to the next question that I have for you, which is when you're navigating like the complexities of running a business, where have you felt particularly overwhelmed or sidetracked concerning like productivity or moving forward?
Yeah, I think, you're so great, Julie, in getting people to really focus on what is the next thing, or what are the 3 things, or what is the one thing. I like to do that too. What is the one thing? Because we're also inundated with all these new things are happening. Like, it's AI, and we all have to learn to, talk to the intelligence and train it to do all these things. And then, next week there'll be something else, right? And something else and something else. And I think the challenge for myself and for entrepreneurs is, we want that level of excitement. We want to feel like we're moving forward doing. We're doers. We are these people that we derive our value from the things that we can do. And I think the biggest thing to learn is, what stage of business are you in?
Mm-hmm.
And you can be in stage 1. There's like 5 or 7 stages. I guess if you get to $1 billion, there might be 7 stages. But for most of us, to get to $1 million, there's about 5 stages. And you can be in stage 1 and make really good money. But we all I want to go to the next stage, and I want to do like, all these Facebook ads, or I want to do all this stuff. And that's where I think we get stuck. I know that I have circled around in making the same amount of money. The momentum happens in the simplification, staying in the lane of, if you're in phase 1 of business, getting to 6 figures, there's only 1 or 2 things you need to do to get there. But the problem is we do all these other things. And so in the next stage, there's only a couple things to do in that stage. And this really well. And I think for myself, as well as other entrepreneurs, I'm in the phase where I'm going to simplify. I have to simplify because I've got all this knowledge from, 60 plus years of doing what I'm doing. And I'm like, okay, I need to make it as simple as possible for myself and for my clients.
So can you talk a little bit about that? Because that's really bringing you back into focus. So when you're talking about simplifying, what are you thinking? Like, what does that mean for you?
For me, that means really just giving people small chunks to win, to get to wins. I talk to my clients about this all the time. Why are we waiting for a big win to celebrate?
Yeah.
Why don't we go, hey, it's 12 o'clock and I made 3 phone calls.
Exactly.
I'm back, right? It's like, why is the day 24 hours when you can divide it up into segments of 3 or 4 hours and then celebrate each hour? I think that as entrepreneurs, we're always going for the gold ring. We're always going for, when I get to 6 figures, when I get to $500,000, when I get to $1 million, when I get to 10 million. And it's always as because we're human beings, we're growing all the time. So as soon as you get to one thing, you're like, okay, did that. Now what's the next thing? Where's the next place I'm going? And I think that can be it's great. It's driving. It's like, what we're talking about. It's great when it's great. And the other side of it is that you can fall into disappointment, and you can fall into the other things that constrict your energy instead of expand it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And simplicity expands, I think. You feel,
and if we're always moving on to the next thing, which we do need to keep moving forward, but if we don't celebrate where we are and the small accomplishments that we have each day, it makes it exhausting to keep going.
it can totally be. I don't know about you, but I've quit my business many times. I'm like, I'm not doing this. I've never given up, but I've quit. And I think, it's that muscle, that resilience, that getting up and being persistent and changing perception on what's actually happening. Like before you see it, it's actually already happened, but I like to see it, right? I'm like, show me the money, or show me the clients, or show me I'm on stages, or any of the things, right? And but it's having that trust and that faith in yourself that it's happening even though you can't see it yet.
That the work is leading to the outcome that you want.
Right.
It just doesn't happen. We're not overnight successes, you're saying.
No, I always say, when people tell me, I've been in my business 18 years, I'm like, oh, only 2 more years till you're an overnight success. Right. Usually takes 10 years, 20 years. It takes however long it takes.
Yeah, it does. And that whole idea of tenacity and resiliency and keep going, right? Keep going. So
one step at a time.
Yeah. Talk to me about, so the ethos of this show is really around discerning what truly matters, rather than trying to do everything. So can you talk to us about how you make choices at work, at your business, as far as what matters?
I think it's such a great question because it's on so many different levels, like I know for you, when I first met you, you were like, I only want to work a certain amount of time, and I want to be on the golf course, or I want to be on the slopes. And I was like, I'm more of a workaholic, right? So I'm like, play? But the more I get into it, I realize play is a very important part of feeding who I am to really be able to serve other people. But I think making decisions, I look at a couple of things. I just look at what is the next step. Again, in simplification, it's not about jumping. I'm kind of a jumper, which leads to a lot of falling. To say, jumping ahead, or taking the courage to take the risk is really important.
Yes.
But I also think, so 2 things. If it makes my palms sweat and I'm kind of nervous and I have fear about it, it's probably a good thing. It's a growing edge. So it's moving my capacity to do something. And that's a good thing. Also, my excitement level, my passion runs my business and it runs my life. And I love that. It's like I would never not do that.
Yeah.
So I need to understand that sometimes the fear can be really bigger than the passion in the moment. And sometimes the passion, I need to take a break and go, okay, is this the next right step, or is this an exciting thing? I'm excited about it.
Right.
And it's really being able to slow down. I mean, I can be kind of speedy, like, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing it. Then I'm doing a million things. but I'm really not capable of doing a million things. I'm really only capable of doing one thing
One. Yeah.
at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to look at, well, what is the thing that's bringing the clients and bringing the money that I'm really good at, and focus on that.
Yeah.
And daily activities, it's more like, what is my goal for the month or the quarter?
Mm-hmm.
And how many people can I be with and talk to and serve in order to move myself forward in the business? You know, I waste a lot of time. And sometimes space is great. I love to create space. I don't think of that as a waste of time. I just think of trying to hold everything in a holistic perspective. Wasting time for me comes from, I don't know where my stuff is.
Mm-hmm.
I have
Right.
to look for things. The organizational, it's not like I can put my finger on it like in a
Yeah.
couple of minutes.
Well, and there's definitely a difference in leaving intentional space and wasting time.
Yeah.
And what's causing that that behavior, if it's lack of organization on your desk or in your office, if it's lack of organization with your daily activities, all of that stuff for sure. So because then you end up not making decisions or choices. You're just running around with your hair on fire.
Yeah, you're
And
kind of just floating through, you know what I
yeah,
mean? There's no
yeah,
intention, there's no direction. Like I laid in bed this morning and set the intention for the day. What is the one thing I'm going to do? And after that, I can do 2 and 3. Once they get complete, I'm trying to listen to Julie.
I
And
haven't
then,
fallen on all deaf ears here.
yeah, no, not at all. I'm just a slow learner.
So I'm curious, Ann, if you wouldn't mind sharing a recent victory or eureka moment in your business and how it maybe has reshaped your goals.
Well, you know, the thing that have you ever been in a situation where you keep hearing the same thing over and over from different people?
Mm-hmm.
So I recently kind of woke up to this. I know it sounds really silly, but there's really only 1 or 2 things to actually learn. And the rest of it is strategies and tactics and things that you'll continue to learn
Mm-hmm.
all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the biggest thing is deciding, making a decision, a true decision, and then acting on the decision so that your actions align with that decision.
Mm-hmm.
And just moving yourself in these places of, I'm making a decision, this is my vision, I'm making a decision, and what's the next action? That's been really, it's very simple and profound, and being consistent is challenging with that.
It truly is. It truly
It's about
is.
consistency, but if you can do it every day, if you can lay in bed in the morning for a few minutes before you pop up and your mind goes all over with all the things.
Mm-hmm. All the things.
All the things, which
Yeah.
I love. All the things, everything, everywhere, all at once. And make that intention. I'm going to do this one thing to completion all the way through. I do a lot of projects that are like, it's great to know that you're not perfect, you know, and that you can do it.
Yeah.
We all can do this. We're all made to actually expand and be wealthy and do all these things. So I think that really owning that and being intentional is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Because that will make your actions align. You make the decision, you think the thought, You take the action, you get the result.
Yeah, totally. So we have a couple other, just like one other question for you before we talk about what you've got for us, which is, you know that I'm a huge believer in continuous learning.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm wondering if there's a book or a podcast or something that has recently ignited a spark or been interesting to you that you can share with our listeners.
Well, I have a couple things for you guys. I have a huge library.
Yes, you do. Yes, you
You have
do.
a library. You've been to my place, so you know. I just love books. And mostly I don't need another book to buy because I have all of them. I just need to read them all the way through or halfway. Usually I read things halfway through. I get an idea and I get into action, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay too. And I decided to reread this book, Happy Pocket Full of Money. Which is about quantum physics and what is wealth and what is success and how does it work in the quantum field, which I find fascinating because that's how you actually leap, is in the quantum field.
Yeah.
And then I always listen to, every morning I listen to a podcast. My favorite is Mind Valley.
Mind Valley.
Mind Valley with Vishen Lakhiani.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the largest educational thought leader platforms in the world. So you can just dial in and listen to different thought leaders and people that are doing extraordinary things. And it's just inspiration in the morning for me.
Awesome.
And
Very
I love
cool.
it.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you for sharing both of those with us.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. So let's shift gears into something that the people out here in Facebook land and LinkedIn land can benefit directly from you. So do you have any upcoming ventures or workshops or a giveaway that you want to share with our listeners, with our audience?
Sure. I have, I've created a community because I believe as entrepreneurs, the way to actually move your business and move whatever it is you're doing, going somewhere, you need support. You need to be with people that think like you do, or even bigger than you do.
Yeah.
Basically, and that you're all together working on things. So I created this thing called Study Hall because my dad was a high school principal and everything, and you were a teacher, so it's all about school. And so that link I gave to you for Study Hall, basically we use the Pomodoro technique, and you sit down and say what you're going to work on. It's free. You don't have to have worked with me or anything like that. It's just an open community for entrepreneurs to support each other, which I love.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I wanted to give people is the Renegade Archetype Quiz, so you could understand what is that thing about you that makes you fasinating to other people. And when you take this archetype quiz, you're either a nurturer, disruptor, innovator, or a geek. And I know with you, Julie, you're like, I'm definitely a nurturer. You took the quiz, you're like, oh, I'm a geek.
Yeah, the quiz is fantastic, and it teaches you so much about yourself. Like, it really keys into what makes you you. And yeah, it's a really awesome quiz. If you can click on the link and go take this quiz from Ann, you will your eyes will be open for sure.
Yeah, your eyes pop open and you're like, oh my goodness. And I think, you also have an opportunity to talk to me about it. It helps when we're in a conversation about it.
Yeah.
So that, because there's nuances, but I think that everything that's valuable to us as human beings happens in a conversation.
It's true. It's very true, because we are humans and need that human interaction to spark relationships, to spark ideas, to spark I can't think of the word.
Much easier.
Yeah.
It's so much easier, Julie.
Easier.
It's like when I run my masterminds and stuff like that, people are like, I just teach for a few minutes and then I turn them loose to be with each other. And they come back with these extraordinary ideas
Yes.
and these extraordinary experiences
Yes.
because everybody is
That power of
together.
synergy, the power of, two brains are better than one.
Right.
Yeah, I love it. Well, Ann, thank you so much for joining us today. I
Yeah,
always
thanks for
I
having me.
always love talking to you. Always, always, always love talking to you. So thank you so much. I'm gonna have you exit the studio, or I will have you leave the studio, but please hang out for a few minutes so we can chat after. Okay. Thank you. That was the amazing Ann Bennett, a very good friend of mine, and I hope that you enjoyed what she had to share with us and with you specifically. And so check out the podcast and the book that she recommended, and definitely check out her study hall, which is totally free. Check out her quiz on your archetype and engage with Ann a little bit. She would love to get to know you a little bit. So we have a few things coming up here at JMD Productivity Training. We have on this Friday from 9 to 10 Mountain Time, the myth of time management. It's a 60-minute webinar, and you will learn some things about time management and how it's not really a thing, and why I believe that, and what I do believe. So please tune into that if you can, 9 to 10. It's a webinar, and we'll post the link here to to see if you can make it, if you can check it out. That would be great. We also have all the things coming up on December 11th at 10:30 Mountain Time, like always. And we will be featuring Jennifer Deep Stratton, who is a master of high ticket selling. And I can't wait to talk with her next month. She's also a very good friend of mine and has been my business coach for several years here. So please make sure you tune in with us again in December for Jennifer Deep Stratton. And I will be presenting a talk, Commit to Courage, on a virtual eWomen Network meeting, accelerated networking event online, December 6th. From 11 to 1 11 to 1 Central Time, we will be meeting, and I'll be presenting, and you'll have the great opportunity to connect with other entrepreneurs if you want to come to that. I think it's tickets are $25 or $35, and would love to have you there December 6th. That is what is coming up here at JMD. And I hope that you enjoyed today. And here's signing off. Please stop doing all the things and start focusing on the right things. Thanks, everyone.